Hi guys, and following up from last week's Star Wars Behind the Magic CD, I have the sequel to that, which they released a couple of years later. I believe the Behind the Magic one came out in 1997, and coming out coinciding with the release of Star Wars Episode 1, they brought out the Episode 1 Insider's Guide. Now this is very similar, and it seems to use a lot of the same code as the Behind the Magic. It's formatted almost virtually the same, but instead of covering the original trilogy, this covers just the one movie, the Episode 1 The Phantom Menace. But let's go over to the desktop and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is the Star Wars Episode 1 Insider's Guide. Now this came out in 1999 and is supporting information for the movie, really. Whereas the Behind the Magic disc was 20 years or so of gathered information about the movies. This really isn't. This is behind the scenes. This is much more hype for a single movie. Now, it kind of follows the format of the Behind the Magic and has a lot of really good features in it. It really does detail the single movie it covers very, very well. But it does kind of lack because it is just one movie, whereas the Behind the Magic was covering the original trilogy and was absolutely fabulous. But let's click on through. Oh, is this the title anyway? There we go. And we reach the first menu. And we can see, like the Behind the Magic, it's split across two CDs. So, 1.4 gigabytes of information, with characters, technology, vehicles, locations, and the Phantom Menace itself covered on disc 1. Star Wars Saga Behind the Scenes Expanded Universe, and the Glossary split across both CDs. Now, I'll go to the second CD after a break in recording because of the way we need to get these working on a modern system. But let's start on our journey through. So we've got characters. Now, one of the things I don't like in this disc is this mouse pointer. It's quite nice at being a little Naboo starfighter, but it's really annoying. I much prefer a more discreet pointer, but they decided they could redesign one, so what the hell, they went for it. So, main characters. Let's have a look at Darth Maul. And like the previous one, we've got a little write-up, and then we've got Explore. And we go in, and we've got the full biography. All his details. We've got character images. Now, scenes from the movie, basically. We've got behind-the-scenes information. Talking about Ray Park. Got behind the scenes images. So, mainly publicity photos, I guess. So slightly different to the first disc, because this would have included all the concept art. But concept art now has its own option. So we click on this and we can see early sketch of Darth Maul. It goes through various designs for his costume, which I do kind of like. These are almost Dune-like Fremen still suits. Very high-tech looking. I think that would have been an interesting look, but plain robes works as well. Dramatic concept art for Darth Maul. Concept art of Darth Maul in battle gear. Another early version. Concept art of Darth Maul with 2 lightsabers. Darth Maul in colour. Darth Maul in white, which is an interesting look. We've got Darth Maul's costume. So we've got photographs taken on the set from different angles so we can see what each character looks like. And then we've got without robe. What else we got? If we go back, we've got the trivia questions throughout. We're going to Queen Amidala. And we go through. And we've got behind the scenes images. Like before, some nice photographs from the set. Concept art. Some beautiful artwork there. But because Queen Amidala is also Padme, we've got concept art for her as the Handmaiden as well. They did create them as completely separate characters. Got her costume. And it's a rotating image. Handmaiden disguise. Travel outfit. Pre-Senate appearance. Senate appearance. Post-Senate appearance. Diplomatic gown. Battle dress. and celebration gown. All her outfits throughout the movie. If we go back again, R2-D2, who shouldn't be much. We've got concept art, where the idea that he would open up and have various tools inside him, which he makes him look a bit lethal. We've got behind the scenes images, with wonderful Kenny Baker sat there on set, providing the personality for R2-D2. Continuing back through the characters, let's have a look at Qui-Gon. Got various concept art where he was obviously a lot younger. That almost looks like Ewan McGregor. That's obviously Liam Neeson. What else we got? Some behind the scenes images. Nice stuff. As I said, this is almost like a making of Star Wars Episode 1 presentation book, a coffee table book. We don't have anything much for Darth Sidious, obviously trying to keep the secret of who he was. But groups and organisations, we can go into the Jedi and explore and see concept art for different Jedi. What else we got? The Trade Federation. Explore them. Again, so we get group images and concept art. Lots of really lovely stuff as they refine the design for the Nemoidians. Aliens and creatures. Then we've got the technology. So we've got weapons, devices and droids. So we've got various weapons here. We don't have the testing chamber like we had with the Stormtrooper, but we can go in and we can explore lightsabers and see behind the scenes images. Obi-Wan's lightsaber, Mace Windu's, Coyote-Mundy's, and just all the details. The props. Very nice stuff. Devices. I kind of thought when I first saw this that the Jedi testing screen was going to be one of those Stormtrooper-like testing chambers, but it's not. It is just information on the little iPad-like device that they use. Something I always had problems with because it just shows vehicles out of the movie. When they're like a picture of a starfighter, and it shows a Naboo starfighter, instead of showing a more common starfighter throughout the rest of the galaxy. We've got droids, so going through the various types. So let's have a look at the battle droids. We can explore that. See the concept art, where originally they were to be much more massive. They were to have 4 arms. They were to lock down into sort of combat mode and things like that, where they had armor plating. What else have we got? Then we're on to vehicles. Now, like before, we have the vehicle size charts. We had speed ones in that. But the most interesting section here is the pod racers. Because as well as showing all the pod racers, if we explore, we get 3D models of all the vehicles, behind the scenes images, pilot concept images, etc. If I go into the starfighters, let's have a look at the Naboo starfighter and explore. So we get this 3D model, concept art, pictures, etc, etc. But back up to the pod racers, we have Watto's Pod Racer Sale, which is a short video advertising Watto selling pod racers. So let's roll that.
Where can you find a pod racer fit for a dog at the prices even a hut can't pass up, huh? Only at Watto's. No credits, no truggets, no mind tricks, no problem. We take all forms of Tatooine money, including truggets, peggats, and wapipui. No Jawa junk here at Watto's. Only the finest pod racer parts your money can buy. Financing available on all vehicles. At Watto's, we buy, sell, and trade. Exchange your old land speeder for the finest in the pod racer technology. Shopping anywhere else is just a gamble. For a limited time, get 2 tickets to next day while you shop. Only at Watto's. Every pod racer on the lot has an open-air cockpit and twin-engine cooling device for those hot Tatooine days. Phew! All of our pod racers meet pod racing codes. At Watto's, you'll find the best in, reclaimed pod racer parts. Huh? How much would you pay for this color Pondra plug F mammoth with split X configured racing engines? Huh? Pay just $19,995 for this fine machine. Having trouble with your pit droid, huh? I have only the best in stock. You won't find more reliable droids anywhere. Come on down to Watto's and let me take you for a ride. Huh? Watto's, located in the downtown Mos Espa, offers the finest pod racers in the Outer Rim. And remember, if it's not Watto's, it's just junk. Huh?
Now obviously it's not the highest quality thing that's ever been produced, but it's kind of fun that they created a little Watto advert just for this disc. Now, as I said, we carry on through the various types of vehicles. We can have a look at the Trade Federation tanks and see their concept art, which is really quite interesting stuff, some interesting styles of vehicles. I'm kind of sad we never saw these. It would have been nice if they'd brought them back, rather than some of the very, very bizarre vehicles that they used for Attack of the Clones. The behind the scenes images of the models. Very, very lovely stuff. As we move on, we get to locations. And we have Coruscant, and we can explore things like Palpatine's quarters. Again, behind the scenes images. Set photographs there. We have concept art, where they show the various designs as they went forward with the ideas. But, again, one of the more interesting is Tatooine. Because, very much like the Stormtrooper section where you got to click on different weapons on the Behind the Magic disc, on this one, as well as having various places to explore, we have Jar Jar at the Junkyard. So, let's click on through this. So we have Watto's Junkyard, and we have various things that we can get Anakin to say to him.
Hey Jar Jar, I left my Hydra spanner by the pod racer engines. Can you find it for me?
Sure thing, Annie.
Just be careful of those energy binders.
I will.
Jar Jar, watch out!
I didn't
Now this definitely isn't up to the standard of the Stormtrooper one. There's not as much fun to be had here, and they are a bit annoying. But I suppose there's some enjoyment to be had here in killing Jar Jar in various
Hey
ways.
Jar Jar, would you mind finding my pit droid Dumb 9?
No problem, Annie. Hey, come here, little droid. Oh, watch it. This way, droid.
Jar Jar, would you feed Watto's Ronto?
Sure. Oh, this is heavy.
I wonder if the creators really knew how much Jar Jar was going to be hated.
My warning, yous. This way.
And the last one.
Jar Jar, take this into the junkyard for me.
No problem, Annie.
And don't break anything.
Okay, day, Annie.
What a kind of help are you, huh? You clumsy gun. Out of my way.
Me too, sorry.
Get in here. Now.
No, it's not quite as fun as the Behind the Magic one, but I suppose it's more childish, as I suppose in episode 1 was supposed to be. And we have the Phantom Menace itself, which is the theatrical trailers, the scene-by-scene analysis, much like they did for the original trilogy on the Behind the Magic disc, and we have the teaser posters. So let's have an examine. The one with Anakin with the shadow of Vader, which was kind of cool. And we have the scripts with all the notes. So, working title episode 1 was simply The Beginning. Drafts. Lots and lots of pieces of information, and we can head through and get all the different pieces of information. Now, from the earliest drafts, Sidious is portrayed as a menacing hooded figure, very similar to the Emperor from Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I wonder why. And that's all that's on the first disc, except the glossary, I suppose, because that's split across both. And that's very much like the Behind the Magic one, where you can go into virtually every character and see a little piece of information, and obviously the more famous ones, where you can go to the page and you can explore them in far more detail. But let's take a pause in the recording while I swap over to the second disc and I show you the last few bits on that. So we're on to disc 2, and we start off with the Star Wars Saga. We click on that, and it allows us to see information about all of the movies. So we go in, and there's some basic information about Star Wars. A New Hope, Episode 4. But there's also information on Episode 1 and 2, and considering this came out in 1999, it's long before those movies came out. So we click on Episode 2, and it's got some very basic information there. I'm sure it says here somewhere. According to McCallum, much of Star Wars Episode 2's plot also focuses on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Mace Windu should play a prominent role, and it is likely that Boba Fett will emerge as one of the central antagonists. So that is kind of true. And we have Episode 3. Now, it mentions that Ewan McGregor will return as Obi-Wan Kenobi, Natalie Portman as Queen Amidala. Lucas will direct Episode 3, when it'll record, but obviously there's no details, because we're talking 6 years before the movie actually comes out. We've got a bit of writing for the Star Wars universe by George Lucas. We've got behind the scenes. So we've got all stuff on the making of the movie, which is really, really nice stuff. Art direction, Doug Chiang talking about the art styles. Casting Jar Jar with Robin Gurland. Just lots of interviews and information. Concept art produced for Episode 1, Doug Chiang. A couple of trivia questions. Animatics. Again, a video collage here showing how the animatics are done. Very, very slow, but lovely background information. Let's skip out of that. And then we've got the expanded universe, which again goes through lots of stuff, all the sources, so comics, books for kids, sound books, and we can click through and we can see all the information they've got. The Episode 1 tie-in comic, Qui-Gon. And that is it. The glossary, as I said, split across 2 discs. It will prompt you to put in disc 1, so the way that we've had to mount these discs as separate images on the hard drive to get it to work on a modern version of Windows, or at least a version of Windows where I can record the screen as well using the software that I use. It just doesn't work because you have to unmount it. But that is the Star Wars Episode 1 Insider's Guide. And it was quite a lovely presentation. It's very, very well done. There's lots and lots of background information there. If you look for concept art of the characters and starships, as I do, because I tended to use a lot of it creating stuff in the Star Wars role-playing game, you know, alternative Trade Federation vehicles, alternative battle droids, things to surprise your players with. This was a fantastic source of imagery, stuff which wasn't really available, and even if you go to the internet these days, the images aren't that great. There's stuff on here that I haven't really seen anywhere else. But, as usual, I've whittled on for ages, so thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment below, as it does me massive favours with the YouTube algorithm. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves. And I'll catch you later. Bye now.